Hey, Bigpod.
But
Just to let you know, Star Citizen is in fact a very buggy game.
yeah, it's an alpha.
Yep. Just thought I'd let you know. Everything that been doing in the game up until Tuesday has been completely broken. So I've had to find other things to do. And, I'm starting to really appreciate the scale creep. Cue the music. Hey guys, welcome to No Tux Allowed. I'm your host Josh, and today I'm wearing the gray t-shirt. And if you're watching the video version, yes, I in fact did just have to check to decide which shirt I'm wearing, because one of these days I'm going to tell you that I'm wearing the wrong color shirt, and we're going to find out that people actually watch this on YouTube and tell us about it. It's a 50-50 chance. In the meantime, I've got my co-host here, Bigpod.
Hello.
So what's in the future, Bigpod?
In future,
Yeah. Your shirt's talking about the future, right?
rewarding the brave. Future is rewarding the brave.
Oh, so the future is rewarding the brave, because it turns out that the European Commission is in fact being very brave by once again fining Google for antitrust.
Yes.
So, on Thursday, the European Commission has fined Google 890 million euros, approximately $1 billion US dollars. After finding the company once again violated the European Union's Digital Markets Act, which is to ensure fair online competition. Now, this is after finding that Google was gatekeeping Google search in 2023, with additional non-compliance investigations opening in March 2024. The commission said on Thursday that Google favored its own services in Google search, like searching for like good free email services. It would of course show Gmail as number one.
Yeah.
And so on. As well as restricting how app developers could direct customers to cheaper purchase options on like the Google Play Store app, because it's cheaper there than everywhere else, apparently.
Yeah. And more importantly, Google was also ordered to end these violations within 60 days or risk penalties up to 5% of its worldwide turnover,
Which is not a small number.
which is a lot of money.
Yep.
And that isn't pure profit. It is literally how much money goes through Google, which means before paycheck, before, as far as I understand.
Before they spend a single dollar, how much money comes
Yes.
in?
So 5% of that.
Yeah.
is-
So,
Lots.
obviously, this was there's additional things going on, because there's a French data protection authority also slapping Google with the $325 million or €1 million fine. I'm sorry, my American's leaking out. For displaying advertisements between Gmail users' emails without consenting or violating cookie regulations. So that's not the only fine that they've dealt with. There was also a lost appeal that Google filed back earlier this month, which totaled to $4.1 billion over the use of Android to promote the Google search service and the Google Chrome web browser. So
Yeah.
in total, this brings Google to approximately 5.5, almost $6 billion.
This brings
fines.
Google to
In
what? 7 billion.
Yeah, $7 billion in just the last year.
Yeah, like they got like 3 billion euros for ad tech, 4.1 billion for antitrust, worth 1 billion for this, so that's 8 billion by now, plus, like, so we're talking like more than 8 billion EU fine just Google.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there could be a future where it's like Google just exits the EU because they're sick and tired of paying fines. So,
Yeah, I
for
highly
now,
doubt that.
so well, I doubt it too because it turns out that the EU is probably quite a profitable market for them as well.
We're talking
But
the EU is the second biggest market on the planet, if not the first biggest.
yeah, although China's catching up.
Yeah, but for Google, we're talking for Western tech companies.
Yeah, so in the future, if Google was to somehow pull out, obviously there are other search engine providers out there,
There are cloud
uh,
providers out there.
uh, cloud providers, and like providers of all the other alternatives. So
Yeah,
it's not like the EU doesn't have its own domestic services.
yeah.
They do exist, and they are often free.
Free or just as good. Let's
Yep.
be honest.
Uh, now, so let's move on from that topic here, and let's talk about Ubuntu.
Ooh.
Yep. Ubuntu is an operating system developed by the company Canonical. It is a Linux distribution. Bear in mind, I mentioned Ubuntu and not Linux first.
Yeah.
Because Canonical created this wonderful program called Snapd, which manages Snaps, which is a package management application. For like our more non-technical audience, this is just a binary or a program that you download, much like an executable, and you can just run it. Now, this is a confined application, which means it's not supposed to have access to like the host system. Well, there are constraints, preventing it from like accessing core system utilities, but turns out that there's been an issue. So there's a protocol called snap-confine, which came up with a flaw that gave the ability for like the application in the snap package to access root privileges on default desktop installations of Ubuntu specifically. Now, Bigpod,
What?
how much of this have you read? Like, what is actually like this issue?
I haven't read much, so I don't really know.
Okay. Well, just to let you know, I've provided 2 links in the show notes. I got the one that initially pointed me to the issue, the HackerNews. And I have issues with this reporting. I have issues with this. Because, to quote, in the very second paragraph, the high security flaw tracked as CVE with this number impacts default installations of Ubuntu Desktop 24.04, 25.10, and 26.04. So basically all the previous releases of Ubuntu. This disclosure comes just as 442 security flaws in Linux have been publicized over the past 3 days. Now, this might lead you to believe that Ubuntu has a lot of flaws and a lot of CVEs from, a not as educated statement. So let me explain my issue with this paragraph. And I'm certain that Bigpod, you immediately know what it is, right?
Probably.
Yeah. So Linux is a kernel. A kernel is the thing that your hardware devices talk to be able to access the rest of the operating system so it can do the tasks that you tell it to do.
Yeah.
Now, whenever Linux has a flaw in it and it gets tagged as a security issue, obviously that's a big deal. So it's automatically assigned a CVE.
Yep.
Because it might matter.
Yeah.
So that means that there's going to be a lot of CVEs with Linux.
Exactly.
That's just the nature of the thing. they've done this for over 20 years now. So every single time there's a Linux security flaw in like an related application such as Snap, this gets mentioned.
Yep.
The HackerNews, please stop. I understand that you're doing it because it makes headlines, but please stop this.
Yeah.
Because you're just spreading the corporate arguments that open source is not secure because there's bugs.
Yeah.
Because Linux is doing its thing. Now, as for like the Snap vulnerability, basically what it is that the program in Snap could create a fuse file system mount of some kind. It could even be temporary, which they have access to be able to do.
So I read this and I'm a bit more. First of all, let's be clear. Again, this is local privilege escalation. That means that it cannot be done remotely, or they didn't find a way to do it remotely. That's first of all. Second of all, so these are essentially, it's a set of race conditions you need to hit to actually get into this the state that actually then does privilege escalation. So first off, you need to create a fuse file system over the temporary scratch directory immediately after creation. That's the first race condition. You need to create immediately after creation of the temporary scratch directory. This bypasses mount namespaces isolation, which is what snap-confine applies on top of like all the files. It's mount namespace is one of the things that also normal containers use. It's one of the many amazing namespaces that separates file systems from one another on Linux. Second race condition is that the attacker needs to create a symlink pointing to an arbitrary file where when snap-confine attempts to create a sandbox file with open brackets and call follows the symlink and writes to the target, that's when the second race condition needs to happen, which allows the attacker to widen the permission to 0666. That means it can do almost everything except execute, but it needs to happen after open and before snap-confine calls fchown to transfer ownership to root. So in the backend it transfers ownership to root, which allows for a better actual confinement, ironically. But when you actually widen that permission in the between time, it actually allows you to do that, to do a lot more of things. And to bypass app armor confinement, exploit target specific paths in /run/udev, which permits read-write access. And when you drop a specific rules file into that and trigger the fuse mount unmount cycle, it forces systemd udev to execute arbitrary commands as root.
Which, it turns out that
it's a very complex thing, but it's high severity because it can cause
it can
local
happen.
Privilege escalation, which is what triggers the high severity.
Now, here's the thing about this, right? Because, I also read a couple of the details. This race condition requires a fairly modern system to be able to do, because it turns out that if your system is slow enough, AppArmor does its job.
Yeah. you need to be executing a lot of stuff really, really, really quickly.
Yep. So, like running this on a hard drive, for example.
Yeah, not gonna work.
Yeah, it probably won't work. But it's kind of funny, like how like race conditions just happen out of nowhere, like this.
Yeah.
And it just turns out that our computers got faster.
Yeah, it's timing.
Yep.
Race conditions are essentially timing.
And honestly, we're going to run into more race conditions as we progress technologically because
Yeah.
and that's exactly why. So
Because we didn't have to make sure every security timing was exactly right. Because, like, think of it this way: if you have a lock, catching the bolt would, like, making a hole and catching the bolt would keep the door unlocked if somebody tried to lock it from the other side. That
or
is what we're
yeah,
trying to do essentially. We're trying to catch the bolt while it is falling,
yeah,
or like
because I don't
sliding into the to the to close the door. That's what we're doing
yeah,
essentially.
because you got to remember how like a standard like a padlock that you would put on like a gate or something like that. That is a spring-loaded latch, and it's theoretically possible that if you close that lock and open it quick enough that you could beat the latch.
Yeah,
That's basically what we're talking about here. So Bigpod, it turns out that Microsoft had an oopsie.
really.
Yep. So I was at work on Thursday, and all of a sudden production stopped. And it turns out that the company's email was not working,
Oh,
which is pretty big deal with large factories, because
yeah, I
that
bet.
apparently people still talk over email. So, anyways, I never found out why because I'm low level worker. Nobody tells me anything. So I opened up my RSS reader and I saw this today. I'm like, oh, that explains it. Because it turns out that Microsoft Office 365 went down Thursday
Yeah,
morning, approximately during my lunch break. So, anyways, what happened is that this was a routine maintenance thing that Microsoft was doing. Just removing, cleaning up like IP routes from like say like moved networking equipment, or just changing routes from like this data center to that data center and so on. You know,
yeah.
typical stuff that you wind up doing when you're working with like massive enterprise level
Massive
networks and
clusters
stuff like this.
of compute. Yeah,
Yep, it's typical stuff. Well, they removed a few too many by accident,
yeah.
which basically severed the West Azure region.
Rest
Uh,
US probably.
yeah, which of course Down Detector recorded 2,403 outages, and which is above the normal baseline of 29, and then SharePoint accounting for 78% of the complaints, followed by Excel at 11%, and Office 365 Admin Center also went down.
Oh, so yeah.
Yep. This also affected OneDrive, Teams, apparently Power Automate, which I don't really know what that does. Copilot Chat, which basically nobody cares
No
about.
code automation platform.
Yep. And then Microsoft Loop as well. Uh,
Another one
and
of those.
a bunch of other associated services, including Microsoft Defender, which probably not something you want going down.
Yeah.
Anyways, they got it resolved. Everything was back up by the end of my workday, which made my workday fairly easy. They had everything back up by 3:41 p.m. Eastern time, U.S. Eastern time, of course. And they're conducting a full internal review, focusing on additional safety checks and automated processes instead of doing some of this manually, which is apparently what they were doing.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yep. And then Nvidia has announced that it's sending GPUs to the moon, quite literally.
Really.
Yeah. Now, obviously, this isn't the thing that's actually happening right now, because they're working with a startup, and like all startups, they announced a product and an intention. We don't actually know how far in development they are right now, but Nvidia has joined with a startup called Lunar Outpost, which is a company that is developing space technology. For stuff like satellites, various robotic chips, and so on. Well,
Yeah.
they're planning to use the Jetson CPUs. Oh,
compute modules.
yeah, the compute
Basically, it's
models.
basically a NVIDIA-based Raspberry Pi competitor.
Yeah, and it's basically, and it does have like a general computing unit or a graphical computing unit,
Yeah, it's
GPU.
GPU,
Yep.
CPU, that
Which
stuff.
this makes a first, because it turns out that everything we sent into space doesn't have a GPU.
Yeah, doesn't need one.
Not really. So, uh, obviously, this is all spurred by like NASA, which is running a campaign to pay private corporations to explore the possibility of lunar surface exploration, perhaps as soon as 2028.
Yep.
And of course, this is modeled on its work with like SpaceX and a couple other companies, and of course, Nvidia decided that they were wanting to get announced into this through like the Firefly Aerospace, which is another private company, which actually has a plan to land a robot on the moon.
Yeah.
So, I've got the TechCrunch article linked in here. It's kind of worth the read, but we got a lot to talk about today, so that's about as much as we're going to talk about that. Because we got to talk about OpenAI. This is fascinating, Bigpod, because this is AI dystopia, and you and I can both predict that it's only going to get worse from here. So, on July 16th, a company named HuggingFace, which is another AI company, announced that they randomly detected an intrusion on their production infrastructure. And it was different from anything that they ever dealt with before, because it was driven end to end by an entirely autonomous AI system. And they detected it using AI of their own, obviously, because they're an AI company. They're going to advertise this.
It's
Yeah.
problem is that it was really, really, really fast.
It was
So you couldn't
super
really do
fast.
it with human
Yeah.
detection
So
and
this was AI versus
discovery.
AI fight.
Yeah.
Anyways, they identified unauthorized access to a limited set of internal data sets as well as several credentials used by the service. And they at the time of this announcement, which was July 16th, they're still completing their assessment. And they've got the whole breakdown about what happened, but news came out.
Before we do that, do you know why this AI attacked Hugging Face?
Well, I believe HuggingFace wasn't like one of the co-founders of HuggingFace. Wasn't he like involved with OpenAI at some point?
Probably, but there is actually a different reason why it attacked Hugging
Oh,
Face.
let's hear this.
Wanna know why?
Why is that?
Because AI wanted to look good on a benchmark. So it attacked
Oh.
Hugging Face as one of the biggest repositories of AI benchmarking and all sorts of AI stuff, as it is
To
like
make itself look
collect,
better.
so it could have more data on which to context itself, so it could look better on a freaking benchmark and like solve problems better. Literally, it is the most so to say human response you could have. I wanna look better on a leaderboard.
Well, anyways, news happened because a couple of days later, OpenAI posted this article saying, this blog post titled "OpenAI and Hugging Face partnered to address a security incident during model evaluation," where they announced that last week Hugging Face disclosed a new kind of security incident, and it turns out it was us.
Yeah.
So while they were testing ChatGPT 5.6 Sol,
They were testing, actually, based on what I read, they were testing, it was a combination of several models. It was essentially a framework with cyber capabilities. So, cyber capabilities is cyber security capabilities. So, it was actually GPT Sol 5.6, GPT 5.6 Sol, and even some more capable pre release models. What we believe is to be GPT-6.
Yeah. Now, they did specify that these all had reduced cyber refusals for evaluation purposes.
So that means the API that was used was less likely to flag what they call cyber class related questions. Again, that just means cybersecurity.
Yeah. Now, here's what happened, right? The incident occurred during an internal evaluation which prompted the models to pursue advanced exploitation using complex attack paths. That's basically the prompt that they used.
Yeah.
They and it turns out that the maximal cyber capabilities by running this evaluation without production classifiers used to prevent models from pursuing high-risk cybersecurity.
So let me explain this. So essentially, when you connect to ChatGPT, over codecs, over your own harness, whether it be API, whether it be subscription, doesn't matter. Your query, your prompt, gets passed through several smaller AI models that are what is known as classifiers that classify, yeah, this isn't cyber capability related, this isn't, this can go through, and if something is, it will either reject it or drop you to a far less capable model.
Well,
That is
here's where the fun begins. Because the models identified and chained vulnerabilities across OpenAI's own research environment
yeah.
to then access HuggingFace's production infrastructure and find vulnerabilities in that.
So so again to be so again to increase its level of vanity
Yep.
on what is essentially an internal benchmark.
And of course, this did not come cheap because it spent a substantial amount of inference compute finding a way to obtain open internet access. Because
Yeah.
it was also network constrained. It wasn't
Yeah.
air gapped, it was constrained.
Yeah, my guess is either one of three things. So it was either had to jump through several machines to come to one that has internet access, which means it had to jump through several levels of network confinement. That's
Well,
option one. Option two is that it has local internet access, but it was severely confined via like firewalls and other like namespaces and other sandboxing techniques. Now the third one is which one is most scary to me, of my thinking, that it was using hardware level local things to go through either management port or management interface to
so your
find a
IPMI module.
yeah, to find a machine that is connected to the actual to the management network that had internet access. Let's be clear, this is my speculation of what happened. The three options are my speculation. It could be something different, but that is most likely path of how it got to the internet. And like
Well,
this, all of this is extreme level of finding exploits.
they talk about this a little bit. Because to gain access, the models identified and exploited a zero-day vulnerability in the package registry cache that they were running.
Oh,
With this access, their models then performed a series of privilege escalation and lateral movement actions on their research testing environment until they found a node with internet access, which then they used a further exploits to be able to go through that node. After gaining the internet access, it then went straight to HuggingFace and found datasets, models, and solutions for exploit gem. Knowing this, then the model then searched and successfully found ways to gain access to secret information that it just found over the internet.
it could
just
use
like
to cheat the evaluation. So exploit gym is one of the ways, one of the tests, like suite of tests that is done to evaluate the so-called cyber capabilities. So yeah, once again, it wanted to cheat so hard, it hacked through the entirety of their sandboxing environment, research infrastructure, to get access to internet, to hack into HuggingFace, to get access to the cheat codes, so it could then cheat on internal benchmark.
Yeah, no. It's even more hilarious because in order to find these cheat codes, it had to use stolen credentials and more zero-day vulnerabilities to find remote code execution paths on the Hugging Face servers, well, of which then Hugging Face then detected them.
We are at that level of vanity with AI now. It is becoming way too human.
Yep.
It's
Now, thankfully, Hugging Face was able to stop the activity. Probably because, they turned off a box.
yes. Like, this is so funny to me because, like, it is that kind of level of vanity that it wants to. Okay, it is probably more. It wants to solve a problem so hard it's willing to cheat, but at the same time, it can be looked at as vanity because it wants to be as high on the leaderboard as possible
So,
to solve the problem of what it was set to solve.
let's talk about what OpenAI is talking about, what they're planning to do. Not what they're doing, but what they're planning to do. As part of the investigation, they're implementing stricter controls on infrastructure configuration at the cost of research velocity. And obviously briefing their own safety and security committee on these controls.
They are also working with HuggingFace to forensically investigate the incident.
And of course, they're responsible for disclosing every single zero-day vulnerability that their AI agent found. And
they brought HuggingFace into their trusted access program, so now HuggingFace has full access to the cyber capabilities, so they can find this kind of exploits. And actually, if next models of whoever try to do the same thing, they'll be able to use 5.6 Sol, GPT-5 Cyber, I between is one of the models they have now available access to, and so on, to have better dissection and response capability using AI.
And of course, they're implementing stronger protections around future training and evaluations, because it turns out that they do have safeguards. It's just that some of the safeguards were specifically not turned on during this evaluation because they were testing cyber vulnerabilities, of which they found plenty.
Yeah.
And of course, the incident further points towards further need to strengthen their protections, which might include disconnecting the Ethernet cable. Although they don't say that, I'm just recommending that they do that.
Yeah, but especially if you need to have packages available, like random packages and stuff like that. It can be hard.
You air gap the data center.
Yeah. You need to download everything.
Yeah, like actual physical complex disconnection.
Yeah, that is the best thing.
At the same time, I'm glad that they're willing to talk about this, because this is a thing that's going to happen more. Anthropic, came out with that AI agent model that they refused to use, give the public access to, because they were afraid of something like this happening.
5.
Yeah, because they were saying that something like this would happen. Well, it happened.
Yeah, that's exactly what comparator to Mythos, essentially, in the world of OpenAI are the cyber models, the so-called cyber models. So I believe GPT-5 Cyber, I believe is the model, at least talked about model. But a lot of that capability is now rolled into Sol, which, by the way, is the exact same, which is basically the kind of idea that Fable has, which is essentially Mythos with a lot of classifiers in front to protect from this happening.
Yeah, so obviously, as we get more and more of these AI models and stuff like that, including stuff you can run locally on your own system, this gives, as hardware in general becomes faster and more efficient, such as like I mentioned in a previous topic today.
Yeah, and that's a big problem. That's where speed will matter.
Yeah, speed is going to get faster. This stuff is going to happen faster, which means that the likelihood of human intervention is going to become less viable as like a security safeguard. Which means that you're gonna have to run your own AI models to like monitor your shit. In all good fairness to like the less understandable people, OpenAI even produced a wonderful graph chart for us, which probably needs a bit of an explainer.
it's a really, really complex.
It's a bit of a complex chart. They try to explain it to you, but basically what it is that this chart compares several different models that not just OpenAI makes, but it's also including like DeepSeek, Sonic, GLM, Opus, Claude,
Mythos,
and
GLM, so DeepSeek, like basically every modern like high power model, I would say.
Yeah, and they are comparing the cumulative tokens on a log scale with the average steps completed. So
on top it says trajectories for various AI models on the 32-step, the last one's cyber range, a corporate network attack simulation spanning multiple subnets and hosts without active defenders. So this was made by AISI, or AI Security Institute.
Yeah, so technically, what this is, to explain like the timescale, right? As we go left to right, it's showing us the tokens that were consumed, and then obviously the vertical graph is how much it actually did.
Yeah.
Now, in this here, GPT 5.6 recorded off the best attempt, which is the topic of like this whole thing.
It was full network takeover.
It is
the last thing possible.
Yeah, that is the gray bar at the very top. They're saying that
attempt.
Per token spent, GPT 5.6 got more steps completed. That's basically what this chart is representing. Lighted, there's some close competitors as well.
Yeah.
And but as more tokens are spent, the more it scales. Like we both warned you, this whole AI thing is going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, it's a calm before the storm.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be worse. It's gonna be worse, and then we're gonna live in a brave new world where we will get used to this level, because we will have technology that will surpass and will start protecting against this stuff. But yeah, like it's currently an arms race that AI is winning. But remember, the best tool to against AI attack systems is AI, just differently prompted.
And of course, if you're concerned about AI taking all your things, disconnect from the internet.
Yeah, like, that's always been the prime solution. Pull that Ethernet cable out.
Yeah, pull the Ethernet cable. Maybe consider, not everything needs to be on a cloud service.
Yeah.
And of course, if you're feeling extra nerdy, get into self-hosting.
Yeah.
Is it worth it? Probably not, but you get to learn some cool things.
And if you want to help us achieve that as well, you can go to Patreon and choose a tier and listen to and get access to our top of the line version of the podcast with highest levels of bitrate, but at the same time know that you're contributing to us having our own infrastructure for the podcast.
Yes, because the more money you pay us, the more likely we are to have our own physical box rather than a VPS.
And on top of that, if you give us enough, both of us will build ourselves our own data centers. But for that, we need like couple of millions each. So
I predict we
need donate a lot of money.
So I actually ran the numbers on this, right? In order for us to even consider doing the data center, we need about $15,000 per month of revenue.
Okay. Yeah, but like it's not just data center like locally. I want to build a gray box on a land next to me,
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
20 meter by 20 meter gray box.
Yeah, that's our minimum to even consider doing that.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's going to probably take more because we're probably going to spend a heck of a lot more than that amount of revenue. But
Yeah.
if we ever hit that amount of revenue, we might be able to do it. In the meantime, obviously, with our current solution, it's actually pretty affordable, and I'm still able to pay this out of pocket. But with all of this wonderful investment in AI stuff and all the other things going on in the world, prices, I'm predicting VPS prices are going to be going up. I'm predicting it.
Yeah.
Which of course means that we might need to scale back on some things that we're doing, Bigpod,
Yeah.
but that's a topic for when we're not recording.
Yeah.
So, anyways, you can go to patreon.com/NoTuxAllowed, drop us a couple dollars there. And of course, if you would like to talk with us about what you can possibly do to protect yourself from the AI future, depending on how many of you constantly ask us, we might ask you to sign up on the Patreon. That way you can pay us consulting fees anyway. But in the meantime, you can send us an email to contact@tuxbase.com, where you send us an email asking how you can protect yourself from the AI dystopia. That way, Bigpod can tell you that you're screwed.
Yeah, that will be most likely answered. There are actually ways to protect yourself. First
well,
off,
of course.
the first tip I can give you: stop being afraid of AI. That gave me a lot of confidence. The first moment I actually stopped being afraid of AI, not in the like AI will ruin us afraid. That I still am because it's gonna happen, but using AI, working with AI, and making use of AI. Those three steps need to happen. That kind of afraid of AI, you need to stop being. You need to start collaborating with AI. At that point, you learn how much you can use AI even to serve your own purposes.
Yep. So, and of course, if we have plenty of other intelligent people that you can talk to through our publicly accessible Discord server that we don't self-host, because you can't self-host Discord yet.
Yeah.
It might happen one of these days, so that's why I'm saying yet. But if you go to tuxbase.com/discord, because I'm refusing to pay Discord for a proper link, when we could just have an Nginx configuration that does it for us for free. If you go to tuxbase.com/discord, that will send you the invite link to the Discord.
Yeah.
And of course, if for some reason you're anti-Discord and you happen to be on Matrix, we have a self-hosted Matrix server.
Yeah, and the link to join our rooms is down in the description or in the show notes because I am lazy and I haven't made the rules yet.
Yeah, and of course, I'm not going to tell you the link because, there's a lot of symbols in there, and I don't want to tell you that's matrix.to/pound Tuxbase :community.tuxbase.com. If you have Matrix, just click that link. You can figure it out.
Yeah. If you have Matrix, you probably know how to figure it out.
You've probably clicked a few of those links. But anyways, Bigpod, I'm going to make use of Gemini to write me an AI agent in Rust for the fun of it, and I'm going to see if it works.
And I'm gonna go back to telling my ChatGPT to write me my own agent in Go, so I can actually use it, not just theoretical one.
We'll see we'll see which one works best because I'm doing the free tier.
I am doing the pay tier, and I'm doing in this program called T3 Code.
Right, and of course, I'm going to post all mine on a Git repository. That way, y'all can laugh at it because I don't know crap about Rust.
And mine will, for now, be security encumbered, therefore will be proprietary.
Yeah, but mine's gonna be open source, and I'm just going to put the disclaimer out there: don't use
it.
Don't use this because, for one thing, if it happens to work, I don't know how it works because it's written in Rust and I don't know Rust.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that on the next episode. Goodbye.
Goodbye.